Rock on. I love that shit. Pardon my French. Man, 5 seconds into it and I've already used a cuss word. Hmm. Okay, I'm over it. Just kind of a quick hitter today. It's something that I talked about in the previous podcast after I got out of jail this last time. I'm ready to go to war against this disease. And that's not just limited to the disease, but also war against the system who knows nothing about this disease and what it does to people. Um, how they treat people. But most importantly, if we can hit the disease at its heart, then the stupid system is going to be stupid forever, and we can eliminate the system being involved if we can go after this thing hard. Um, so I wrote a little something when I was in jail about going to war against the disease and how going to war against this disease is similar to wars that we have in the world. So I'll just get right into it. For example, when we go to war with another country, you have to leave home, right? So to go to war against the disease, a lot of times you have to leave home, whether it's by the system taking you and putting you in a cage, or you making that good decision and going to treatment on your own, or you have to leave because your family tells you that you either go to treatment or we're done with you completely. So leaving home for the war against the disease is a lot like that in the real world wars, and the wars of man, not man versus disease. You're going to need allies in this war against the disease. You're going to need friends. You're going to need a sponsor or a counselor, a therapist. It doesn't have to be all of those. It doesn't have to be just, it can just be just one. Some people do it without it. But typically, you're going to need allies. You're going to need family members that are there to support you. And sometimes they're not going to be there the entire time. Sometimes they're going to have to pull back, and they're going to have to get reinforcements themselves. They're going to have to gather themselves and heal up a little bit before they can get back into this war with you. You're not going to win every battle. Okay. You're going to get blown to bits. You're going to lose some men or women. You're going to lose some people. You're going to lose battles. You might slip. You might have a relapse. But as long as you're willing to get back up and keep fighting, the war isn't over. I'd answer some questions on some applications and talking to some people, kind of some first step interviews that I had this week. And, I'm going to continue to answer that. I've been in recovery now for a while. I'm coming up on my 6-month anniversary, which I'm super excited for. It means so much to me, but that's for another time. I've been working. John Duty had kicked me in the nuts right now if you heard me say trying. I've been working on my recovery for years. When I first started to go to AA and I went through the steps with my first sponsor, we'll just say Brian. When I went through the steps first time with Brian, that was me trying. I was working on it. I was working on beating this thing. And there were a lot of times where I felt really good. I just couldn't lick it. And so I've been working on my recovery for a couple of years. Now I feel like I'm actually in recovery for the last almost 6 months now. And obviously I've lost a lot of battles. I mean, in those 2 years, I got 2 more OWIs. So those are some pretty huge losses. But regrouped and had to lose a lot before I decided the way that I was going at this war, my tactics weren't working. Communication. You always don't have line of sight. So you want to get in recovery. You want your loved one to get in recovery and get help, but it's really hard to see that end line. And there is no end line. I know that in recovery. This is something that you're probably going to do the rest of your life, even though that's debatable at times too. Some people have just got to a certain point and they stopped working the steps. They stopped going to meetings, stopped seeing a therapist. They figured it out, and that's totally awesome. But the communication, you have to be. The most compliments that I've been getting on this podcast is the honesty. People are saying, really impressed, or I'm really proud of you about how honest you've been in these podcasts. And that means a lot to me because honesty is a huge factor in recovery. You need to be able to communicate with people. Excuse me. When you're pissed off, you don't have to express yourself in every situation. You have to, again, pick your battles. Take some time and think about it, but always keep that line of communication open. We can't communicate with our people on the other side of the planet directly. We have to shoot it up off a satellite and then bounce it around and get to it. So sometimes that satellite is going to a counselor and saying, hey, this person really pissed me off. I just want to be done with them. Or this person crushed my heart. I don't know how to handle this. So that's kind of like your satellite. And then you can go through them and they can give you some suggestions or ideas on how to get your communication across. A good strategy. Now, that's in recovery. There are strategies upon strategies. Some people can go to church and they can pray to Jesus, and that works for them. Some people, like myself, I don't lean that way. Jesus doesn't do anything for me. Church really doesn't do anything for me. And I want to say, unfortunately, because I think that did really hinder me in the beginning in treatment. A lot of treatments are based around that. Harbor Hall they didn't force anything. They didn't force you to go to church. They didn't force you to read the Bible. They gave you one book to read. It was called Came to Believe. And that was very much based on religion. And there's a difference between religion and spirituality. And I needed to find that spirituality. There's a meme I posted the other day. Religion is for people who don't want to go to hell, and spirituality is for people who have already been there. And holy crap, that's the truth. So a good strategy is find out what kind of program. When people say program, they're typically talking about the AA program. Don't let that word is not owned by AA. You have Peer 360 out there. They talk about the Red Road, which is more of a Native American approach, and it's a really good one. You have I'm drawing blanks now. You have Talking Circle, you have Smart Recovery. Those are all programs in a way, and a lot of people are using those, and a lot of people are recovering using those things. There's going to be casualties, just like in the war of the world, the war against this stupid fucking disease. There's going to be casualties. Unfortunately, the obvious casualties are those who lose the war completely and they're no longer with us. There's also going to be casualties of friendships and casualties of love. You're going to have to kill certain relationships in order to survive this war. Some people might be on your side, but they're not helping you. They might want the best for you, but they're continuing to do things that are hindering you. I have a good friend that I haven't reached out to since I've been back in town. He said to me a couple times as I was working to figure everything out, you just need to drink with me. I'll make sure that you drink the appropriate way. I can't be around that. That's just opening a door that I go and I hang out with him. My disease is going to tell me, you know what? He says it's okay. I'm hanging out with this dude. It's fine. I love him. He means the world to me. And I hope later down the road, if he reaches out, or later down the road when I feel strong enough to reach out, he'll respect how I feel, that is not an option. And I'm sure he will, because he's a good person. It's just right now, I can't have that conversation. So casualties are going to happen, man. You're going to lose jobs going into it. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose all kinds of things. You're going to lose opportunities. Those opportunities, I could have stayed up north and went back to Bear River to continue to work. They said they'd keep my job. It'd be in a different form. I wouldn't have been a tech. I would have probably worked in the kitchen or maintenance, worked my way back in there. But that wasn't the right decision for me. The right decision, I was away from my kids. I was away from people I love tremendously. And being pulled in two directions. Even my sponsor was telling me, you can't go back home. You can't be around this stuff anymore. You can't be around these people. And he was wrong. And that's okay. When I got back here, after I finally gave in and found my spiritual side, and I came back, I've been stronger than ever. And I made the absolute right choice. But there are positives in this war, obviously. Sometimes you have to have war in order to find peace. And that's where I'm at right now. I had a very productive day yesterday. Just making sure this room is clean. Applied for a ton of jobs. I got some communications back with a few of them. I potentially have an interview next Friday. I think I've already locked down another job that I'm not interested in, but that's okay. You need to have money coming in. So you can do something you don't like until something better comes along. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm feeling pretty good about that as well. So if you listen to this podcast, I just want to bring a message of hope, because there is hope. And you're looking at a guy with 4 OWIs, a guy with a failed marriage and a failed engagement, a guy whose 10-year-old boys wouldn't talk to him. And now they're talking to me almost every single day. There's, no job and no income right now, but there's opportunities presenting themselves. My soul feels stronger than ever. And I'll be quite honest with you. I don't even know if we really have a soul, but that something inside feels good. I don't know how to explain it. But it does. It feels really good. I feel really good. Outside of eating a bunch of crappy chips all the time, physically, I feel great, and mentally, I feel great. I can lay down and sleep. Like last night, I didn't feel like going to bed. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I finally laid down, and then I got up at I think it was 4 o'clock. And then I ended up getting up at 8 or 9 o'clock this morning, and I feel completely refreshed. It is amazing how 4 or 5 hours can re-energize you when you are sober. And 12 to 16 hours of laying in bed and tossing and turning does nothing for you when you are drinking. This is a war. And I had this imagination. I had this dream of I was going to do this, and I was going to be all fired up, and I was going to be yelling, and I was going to be screaming. I don't need to do that. There's a time and place for that, but this war is serious. And if you care about somebody that is going through this, like I said, there's casualties. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is to cut them out for a while. Cut them off, don't cut them out. I said that completely wrong. You don't want to cut them out. Sometimes you have to. I know a couple situations where there's a divorce happening, and the woman had to completely cut the dude out, and from the kids' lives and from her lives, and it got to a point where she had to do it, and that's going to happen. My point is, if you love somebody and you want to help them, don't give them money, no matter what they say it's for. If they need a bill to be paid, and you want to help them monetarily, then pay that bill yourself. Because I came up with a lot of excuses. Oh, I got to go pay somebody to do my taxes. Oh, well, that's important. You can get in trouble with the government. Fuck the government. Sorry. And people were willing to help me. Oh, I got a job interview. There's no job interview. I don't have gas. I got to get to this interview. Well, you got to have a job. The right thing to do, if somebody could have, would have been to drive my ass to that interview. And then what am I going to do when I don't know where to tell them to go? So love these people. They deserve happiness. They might have done some bad things, but the overwhelming majority of people that I spent time in treatment with, and I would say even the majority of people I spent time in jail with that were in there for drug charges, they're good people. They just don't know how to handle their shit without the substance. I can speak for myself. I did not know how to handle life without the substance. And topic for another day, and I'd like to do this with a panel. So if you're interested, if you're listening to this and you're interested in being part of the panel, let me know about if this is a choice, because I personally think that the disease, the drinking, for me, the drinking was a choice early on, but then it got to a point where it was no longer a choice, because there were times when I said, I am done, I'm not doing this. And by the end of the day, I was all effed up, and I couldn't tell you the next day or whatever how I even got the alcohol. I don't even remember going and getting it. It's just my mind went from this to boom, alcohol. Now, get it. I'm drunk. How did this happen? And you know, you don't take my word for it. Read Bill W. Bill's story in the big book. You know, find yourself pounding on the table. How did this happen again? Well, fuck it. I'm already drinking. I might as well get good and drunk. It's a really good story by the founder. It was Bill W. and Dr. Bob, but after reading Bob's Nightmare so many times, anyway, that's for another one. Bill is awesome. Read Bill's story if you get this. So help me go to war, man. Help me go to war with this shit, and help as many people as we can. Like and comment. I know it's like, oh, you just want 2 subscribers. Well, yeah, fuck yeah, I do. The more subscribers, the more comments, the more likes I get, the more the message can be sent out. And you know, if you know, the handful of people that are constantly commenting and watching this thing, they say they appreciate it and keep doing what you're doing, that's enough motivation for me to sit here on a Sunday afternoon instead of being a nerd or watching TV or doing whatever it is that I would do that is not productive. I will sit in front of this camera and this microphone and say my piece and hope that one day somebody like me, when I was sitting in jail, listening to Sober Speak with the host, John, he helped me, his podcast helped me get through. You know, I'd sit there for days. Come on, new one, upload a new one. And when he did it, it really helped me. So if I can do that for somebody somewhere, then I want to do that. But I need your help. I need your help in this war. I need some allies. So I post this. If you like it and you listen to it, reshare it on Facebook, like and comment on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, give us a good rating. I say us. Yeah, it's us. It's me and you, the listener. Give us a chance. Apple Music, rate the podcast. If you don't want to listen to it and you got 5 minutes sitting in a waiting room waiting to see the dentist or the doctor or something, just go find it and give a 5-star. Just because it's me, and just because recovery is a good thing. So anyway, quick one today. Let's go to war together. Let's join forces and beat the shit out of this vicious, insidious, obsessive disease that's taking really good people and grinding them in the dirt. And that in turn ruins the lives of so many innocent people. So let's do this, man. I really appreciate you all. And thanks for listening.